What's going on, everybody? Welcome into the Pot at the Palace Postgame Show here live from the T-Mobile Center in Kansas City following Arkansas's, let me look up at the score, 90-77 loss to Illinois. Kind of a weird setup in here, so you guys let me know if you can hear me okay. And let's get into it, man. I got to stop going to these games. Honestly, I really got to stop going to these games. The only time Arkansas wins when I travel is the NCAA tournament. So maybe I just need to save it for March. I mean, it's crazy. The trip to the Bahamas was wild last year. Went to the TCU exhibition. They lose that game. Go to the Baylor game. They lose that game. Come here today on Thanksgiving and they lose that one. So thankful right out of the gates for everybody who's tapping in and listening right now. And I understand if that put a little bit of a damper on your Thanksgiving. Arkansas played hard, but man, they could never get over the hump, and they didn't necessarily play smart in this game. Too many guys on this roster kind of no-showed for the Razorbacks today. Defensively, we're talking about a Razorback team that's been top 10 in the country all season. They were even good in their game against a good opponent in Baylor, and that just wasn't the case today. Could not guard the three at all. At the end of the day, this thing is simple math, right? If you go look at it, Arkansas hits 5 3-pointers. Illinois hits 15 3-pointers. So that's 30 points difference from the 3-point line. And we talked about it coming into this game. Arkansas was either going to have to A, limit Illinois from 3, B, hit a bunch of threes themselves, or C, find a way to make up for the gap by, maybe doing the Eric Musselman thing, getting to the free throw line and kind of making up for some of the deficit there. Well, then you look at it, and Arkansas goes 16 of 27 from the free throw line in this game, 59% from the free throw line. So you gave up 10 more threes than you made. You shoot 60% from the free throw line, you lose the game. I mean, that's just pretty much how it goes. Arkansas got, kind of punched in the face right out of the gates from this one. Like, Big Z wins the jump ball against his brother, and you thought maybe, hey, that could set the tone. No, 11-0 run right out of the gates, and Illinois kind of had Arkansas back on their heels. I didn't think the Razorbacks were ready for this one out of the gates. They settled in a little bit, but, man, Illinois looked like the more physical team. They were more efficient. They were faster. They were more crisp. They were sharp. And Arkansas really had a heck of a time adjusting to that. And eventually they kind of did, but it wasn't pretty, was it? Illinois was toying with Arkansas in the first half of this game, especially, and really at times in the second half, from the standpoint of, Illinois was just able to run their stuff and get whatever look they wanted. Even the illusion of a ball. They didn't have to set a ball screen. Just the illusion of a pick and roll or a ball screen would get them a wide open 3, and they were cashing in. Arkansas couldn't get anything to fall. I think they started 0 of 7, maybe more than that from 3-point range. Couldn't get good shots, couldn't create shots organically. So it just became a deal where they had to resort to kind of ducking their head, driving, and hoping they get a whistle. And they did. They did get a lot of whistles and got to the free throw line, but then they weren't making them. So it didn't do them a whole heck of a lot of good there. I thought, for the most part in this game, Adu Thero battled. Absolutely. What did he finish with? 26 points in this game. But man, 12 of 21 from the free throw line, brother. Like, it's got to be better than that. He's almost 80% from the free throw line over the course of his career. Couldn't make it in this game, but he battled in there. Billy Richmond, bright spot for Arkansas, right? Came off the bench. He looked like the one dude that was ready to play in the first half. Matched energy, matched intensity, got after it defensively, was getting downhill, getting to the rim. It's good to see. DJ Wagner, I thought, was ready to play from a physicality standpoint. Everybody else, not so much. And that's a little bit problematic there for Arkansas. It's just, I go through and look at some of these things. Big Z, for example, you look at the stat line at the end of the game, he's got 13 points, 6 rebounds, and a couple blocks in this one. He had some foul trouble in the first half, but it was one of those situations where you had to play him a ton because he's the only guy on your roster who could really make a 3 today for the most part. But then at the same time, you know how much he struggles in pick and roll defense, and his brother ate him up from that standpoint. He ate everybody up, but it's almost like, are you giving up more threes than you're making? So you got to think about that. Boogie Flan, man, like we just mentioned, the importance of the other guys for Arkansas getting going, being more consistent. Kind of like Shane Coleman said, if everybody's good, nobody has to be great. You know that you're going to get some of those freshman-looking games from a true freshman, and that's what you had from Boogie tonight. He really struggled to a point that we haven't seen so far. But yeah, just 2 of 12 from the field. 0 of 3 from 3. He had only 1 assist in this game, so not what we've grown accustomed to seeing from him. And there was really nobody there to pick up the slack. Here's the thing with Johnell Davis. Either he doesn't want the ball or the Razorbacks don't want to get him the ball. It's the strangest thing in the world. They've just got to figure that out. I don't understand why you have Boogie Flan in foul trouble and you refuse to put Johnell Davis on the ball at all. And then you just run nothing for him. I mean, I get it. He has to be better. Absolutely. Johnell Davis has to be better. There is zero excuse for him to take how many shots do you wind up taking? 3 shots in this game. You can't have that from a guy that's supposed to be your best player. We've said it a million times, like he cannot be a role player, but it's twofold. One, they have to do a better job about putting the ball in his hands. I mean, he comes out, pulls a 3, maybe a little bit ill-advised, rims out. Okay, whatever. You missed the shot, but not a bad look. And then right down here by me, he goes baseline, leaves his feet, takes heavy contact, didn't get the call. And from there, he was just done. Like, he just packed it in for the rest of the first half. You didn't see him touch the ball. He just hangs out in the corner, and it's almost like Arkansas is playing 4-on-5. That's on John Calipari for not doing things to get him involved. It's for his teammates for relentlessly just going the other way, refusing to do a ball reversal, refusing to initiate any offense towards him. And it's on Johnell Davis because at some point you have to take the initiative yourself. You have to demand it. If the only way you're getting the ball is by getting a rebound or in a scramble situation or randomly in transition, you got to demand it. You got to start calling for it if you're going to be the dude. Otherwise, they got to get somebody else in there. So it was a frustrating deal. When he did touch the ball in the second half, good things happened. He knocked down a 3. He had several assists to Big Z, but there's just not enough there. And like I'm happy that he finished his game with 6 assists and just 1 turnover and 2 steals. Like those are good things. But you need that from your point guard. If that's what you want from Johnell Davis, put him on the damn ball. Right. And let him do that. Let that be his role. Otherwise, if he's going to hang out in the corner, he needs to be shooting 3s and getting shots up. It's crazy to me that he's not taking 10 shots a game. I just don't understand it. It's a combination of him and the other guys. They got to get him going. They absolutely do. Carter Knox comes off of that game where he scores 20 some odd points. It's kind of his breakout performance. And he only played 7 minutes in this one. So I don't know if that was a deal where it was defensive breakdowns or if he was sick, or I'm not sure what was going on here from my vantage point. I'd be interested to see if John Calipari said anything about it. But yeah, tough look there. And then you have Jonas Adu available. And here's what I'll say about Adu. He's already your best option defensively at the 5, like right away. They had to use him because Big Z and Trevin both picked up 2 fouls there in the first half. So he played a good amount, right, in the first half. Some good, some bad, but like he had the 1-on-1 in the post defending against Tomislav Ivisic, forced a miss, looked good. He created a steal. He had a putback. Like he did some things that were really good in there, but he looked like a guy who hadn't been playing much. And so he was kind of getting caught in random switches. Like, I don't know why he would ever switch onto Illinois' point guard. And then you'd leave DJ or Boogie on the 7-footer. But man, they've really, really got to figure some things out defensively, guarding ball screens. That was ridiculous. Just not good. I mean, they had absolutely no answers from that standpoint. But then we didn't see Adu in the second half. And I don't know if he was if it was supposed to be emergency only duty again, because of, the other guys getting in foul trouble, you put him in there and you didn't go back to him. I didn't think he looked too bad. And I also thought that he was moving around better than we've seen. So maybe that's a bit of an encouraging sign there or something. I don't know. Man, stat sheet. Anything else that stood out to me? I'm going to get into your chats here. This is going to be a little bit of a shorter show because I got to drive back from Kansas City. But again, man, I really appreciate everybody who's tuning in. That's good stuff on Thanksgiving. I can't wait to get home and have one myself. We talked about the physicality a little bit. We warned you about those ball screens, man. I was very worried about that. As good as Arkansas has been defensively, I know how good Illinois is offensively. They were crisp. They were good, weren't they? Arkansas, it felt like a couple times in this building, and it was an intimate but a loud and rowdy crowd. And there were more Illinois fans in here. It was probably like 60-40, the split. So I'll give them credit for that, but it felt like a lot more for large stretches of that game because Arkansas couldn't get any momentum. And every time they did, they had a number of opportunities in the second half where they cut it to 10, cut it to 9, get a couple buckets in a row. The Razorback fans are getting loud. every single time. It never failed. Illinois answered 3 after 3 after 3. And then you could almost hear like a sigh come out of the breath of the Razorback fans, and they sit back down. You could just never get over that hump for whatever reason. And I know that was frustrating for folks. And then little things, 4 different occasions, Arkansas comes out of a timeout. They miss free throws. I know Richmond did it. Boogie did it. Thero did it. They would miss free throws. So an opportunity to come out of a timeout and cut into the deficit. And then they would immediately give up a 3 on the other end. Those are big swings, right? That you just, you can't have those. You really can't. Let's see. Yeah. Man, oh man. I don't know. Let's get into the chat. I want to see what y'all are thinking. Let's see how you guys are doing. Brutal stuff. Cameron says we can't make a 3. Well, they didn't make too many of them today. That's for sure. And it stinks because it was semi encouraging that these guys were able to, show some signs of life from 3-point range here recently. They just came off of a game where they made 15. And I understand they weren't playing a good team, but if threes are falling, right? And that's a good thing to see. But you got to do it when you're on your heels. You got to do it when they're not as wide open. You have to create better looks to be able to make those. And Arkansas really didn't do that throughout the course of this game. Greg says he's over this team already. Don't be that way. I understand it's frustrating right now because they got a long way to go. Very talented group, good players. They're still trying to figure each other out and get healthy. It's frustrating to see Arkansas right now because a lot of teams are in similar situations and they're faring better, frankly, right? I mean, that's just kind of what we're looking at. You wish that they were further along than they are. It is going to be a process, and they're probably going to take another loss or 2 here before we get to SEC play. You just hope that they're firing on all cylinders by the time they get there. Are they talented enough to be a really good basketball team? Absolutely, but they're not there yet. That's for sure. Let's see. Yeah, Jeff, I think we're on the same wavelength, man. He says, well, they competed, but couldn't break within 9 the entire game. Yeah, that was like that was their kryptonite. I saw somebody say that on Twitter a couple times. Boy, they would get to within 9, and then every single time, man, Illinois had an answer for them. And the reason why is because, Illinois, they were just able to create and get whatever they want. I mean, how many bad shots did Illinois actually take in this game? I would argue not very many. And they got a lot of easy shots, easy looks, wide open threes, open layups. Arkansas really had to earn every single bucket that they got in this game. Nothing came easy for them. And that's because they're behind where Illinois is right now, honestly, on both ends of the floor. Let's see. Jeff says, good team. It'll show in March. I think Johnell Davis needs to let loose. He loses confidence during the games. Yeah, it's he does need to let loose. He does need to get it going. And it is kind of baffling how it looked like he was going to be aggressive coming into this game in the early goings. And then it was just a kind of a disappearing act from there. And then again, like he gets his touches in the second half and some good things happen. He was dishing out some assists. But he's not aggressive looking to score. And that's really what Arkansas needs from him, especially just having some situational awareness on a day where, Boogie's the guy who's been scoring so much for you. He doesn't have it going at all. You got to pick up some of that slack at the very least. And there wasn't even really an attempt to do that. So, yeah, I mean, a lot of people are on that. I get it. Johnell Davis only taking 3 shots the entire game is a problem. Yeah, it's not ideal. It is not ideal. There's no doubt about that. Okay. So yeah, Caden says we recruited the wrong brother. So, I do just want to point out, I talked about Z stats earlier. He had 13 and 6. He hit 3 threes. He was better in the second half. He got in foul trouble early. But his brother went absolutely nuts. Tomislav finished with 21 points. He was 6 of 9 from 3. He was the one shooting 28% from the 3. Big Z was the one shooting 58%. Tomislav comes in here and he knocks down 6 threes, has 21 points. How many rebounds did he get in this game? Only 5, so nothing too crazy there. But yeah, he was the better one in this game today, no doubt. Squealy Dan says ball screen defense is hard. It's hard for Arkansas right now. I'm telling you though, Jonas Adu is going to solve a lot of those problems. He was he looked good. He did a good job in there. It's when they miscommunicate, when they get caught up on those screens and they're trying to switch when they shouldn't switch. But the pick and pop thing was really, really hurting them in this game in particular. But when it comes to screen and roll stuff, I feel pretty good about Jonas Adu once he's healthy. Hopefully, they can continue to progress his minutes, because otherwise it's tough, man. They really don't have an answer beyond that. It's like I said earlier, just the illusion or the thought that Illinois might set a ball screen became a wide open three, man. They had the Razorbacks twisted into a pretzel defensively. Jeff says team just seemed to come out and shoot lights out on us from the three. Not sure if we have a breakdown on 3-point defense. Yeah, I mean, it wasn't good. It's been good all season. They've been holding opponents under 30% from three the entire year. Even Baylor, because people are like, oh, they're doing it against teams that suck, whatever. I get it. But even Baylor, I think they were like 7-24. They held them under 30% from three. But yeah, my goodness, man. 15 of 31. He's just, coming into the game, I think they were averaging 35 threes a game. Chin Coleman said they needed to cut that in half, the attempts, and then hold them down in the 6-7 make range. Buddy, it's if those were the goals, you didn't reach them in this game. It was crazy. Some more stuff on Nelly. It's like Cal doesn't want to get Nelly the ball. I mean, he's got to start forcing the issue. Because I'm sure they're just out there trying to run their base offense or whatever, but they started away from him every possession, and this team is not good enough or clicking enough offensively, and they're not patient enough or setting good enough screens or cutting hard enough to reverse the ball and get it to him and let him go to work. It's just not happening right now. Let's see. Yeah, Caden says we didn't have Nelly, Wagner, Big Z, Adu, or Fland. Only Richmond and Thero came to play. I mean, that's kind of how it felt. For large stretches of that game. And again, like we touched on Billy Richmond, but I'll say it again. He was really good. Good to see him out there competing, man. If he could just knock down the occasional catch and shoot three from the corner, that would be a really good thing for Arkansas. It really would. But man, he's not able to knock those down just yet. Eureka Strings, appreciate you. He says, Curtis, just want to say thanks for heading up to KC to cover this game on Thanksgiving. Appreciate you. You're the true GOAT of Hogs basketball coverage. Thank you. No, I appreciate that. I was excited to come up here for this game. It's like I said, though, I don't know why I keep doing this. If it's not NCAA tournament, anytime I go somewhere, they lose. And I feel like these post games, it's cool to do it in the arena and walk around or just kind of being here in the atmosphere. But man, it's always a downer because they for whatever reason, they get these spotlight opportunities and they lose. At least it wasn't in the DFW this time, because Lord knows every time I go down there, they get beat at something. Squilly Dan says, in no way blaming here, but I didn't like the whistle. Yeah, I mean, there were some, seemed like a lot of moving screens, probably some travels that weren't called, on Illinois. But at the end of the day, Arkansas got to the free throw line so much and just did other things so poorly that, I can't really be on that too much. Trem Brazil question, why didn't Trem Brazil play more minutes? He can switch off a lot more effectively than Big Z. They killed us on Big Z switching. He played more in the second half. He got in foul trouble too. Like he played 90 seconds in the first half and picked up 2 fouls right away. And so then he sat the rest of the half. I thought he did some good things when he was in there in the second. He finally hit a three. He took and hit a three, had a putback dunk, did some pretty good stuff in there. But yeah, I mean, his minutes need to go up for sure. Let's see. Heartbroken Hog, appreciate you, man. What's up, Curtis? Happy Thanksgiving, brother. Sorry the team disappointed. Yeah, me too. Makes for a little bit of a drag on the drive home, but that's right. Let's see. You got some people weighing in on their Thanksgiving meals. You are making me hungry, man. We didn't have a real good spread here today. It was the holiday crew, man. We had some chips and some peanuts and stuff, so that was cool. But I thought they might really hook us up. Although Daniel Shee snuck into the CBS tent and got himself some brisket. He got busted too, but that's all right. Yeah, people were a little bit upset about the officiating. I guess so. A lot of people wondering if Cal got the wrong Z. I mean, he's a little bit further along right now. He definitely was today, man. It's hard to argue that one. But Big Z's done a nice job for Arkansas. He's got to get a lot stronger. He was doing the thing again today where anytime he secured a defensive rebound, you just knew that there was going to be an Illini hand that would pop the ball out of his freaking hands every single time. He's got to be stronger with that. It really does. Haas says Davis must score a lot more for us to win. Well, it would have helped the cause today. He scored 3 points. You lost by 13. A lot of guys could have done more today. He's certainly one of them. I can't argue with that. Adam Zorn says cash and checks, not making buckets. Well, yeah. I mean, Pooh Bear wants to know if Arkansas falls outside the top 25. Yeah, they'll be out of it most likely next week. It's been a weird week with Feast Week. It's like a lot of other ranked teams have lost, but a lot of non-ranked teams have had really good weeks. Like Memphis is going to jump up there. Dayton, who they took a couple losses, they beat UConn. They'll probably jump in there. So I wouldn't be surprised if they dropped out. But then honestly, who cares if they're in it or not? I mean, do we really think this is a top 25 team right now? Like, do you really want the number by your name when you're not really playing like it? But they've got to figure it out because they go on the road to Miami, and it's another opportunity here. Miami hasn't been very good. I mean, they've been stacking up the L's, which is not really what you wanted to see for the schedule because you thought it was going to be a real marquee opportunity. And now there's almost like pressure on the Razorbacks. It's way too early to call it a must win, but it's kind of shaping up as like a can't lose. Anytime you go on the road and beat a power conference opponent, that's really good for you. Net rankings, whatever. It'll probably still wind up being like a quad one-ish win if they get it. But if you lose it, then people are just going to look and say, oh, they lost to a shitty Miami team after they got blown out by Illinois. You don't want that. So they need to pick up this one, and they need to get some things figured out before they see Michigan. Kingsley says DJ has to relax and release the ball. He's holding the rock in a situation where there's easy bucket, one pass away. Maybe he's overthinking being a point guard instead of just being a connector sometimes. All the guards were kind of guilty of that. It's interesting because I counted in the first half alone. I saw it with Thero, saw it with Big Z, saw it with Trevin, and with Adu, where those guys were either rolling off of a ball screen or just wide open in the dunker spot where their guy just completely leaves for help. And Arkansas's guard just had tunnel vision, man, head down, just trying to get to the rim. And it's just easy drop-offs or lob dunks that were there for the taking, and they didn't get them. So, yeah, they've got to have their head on the swivel better. And DJ was doing that quite a bit in the second half. It was almost like he was trying to go into takeover mode when Boogie was out, and he did some really good things in this game. DJ did, but yeah, he could have shared the rock a little bit more there on some of those occasions. Happy Thanksgiving to everybody who's thrown that in there. Appreciate you. Yes, please do hit that like button. That would be cool. I would appreciate that. Anything else cool? This is interesting. Darren Deloach says Boogie shot us out of the game today. We were better with him not on the court. Yeah, I mean, it's probably easy to say that about anybody when they have a bad game, right? But yeah, 2 of 12, pretty uncharacteristic for him. I was not necessarily expecting that coming into this one. He took some tough ones at times, but he's also, he's a gunner, and a lot of times he makes those tough shots, and it kind of gets you going. But they certainly weren't falling in this game. And again, it's like when he has big turnover games, what do we say? Well, did you have a bunch of assists to counteract it? He wasn't as good defensively as he has been. I think the physicality of Illinois' guards and the size of their guards maybe played a factor into that. And then, what was his assist number today? 1, right? And so you got to get something out of a guy, or it puts you in a really tough spot for sure. But they also don't have any other guards to really turn to, especially if they're not going to play Carter Knox in a game, because it just kind of limits your ability to slide anybody besides DJ up a little bit. Just a couple more, and then I'm going to get out of here. Got a couple other things to do. I got to go find the THV 11 people and see what they're talking about. So if you're in Little Rock, you'll probably see me on the news here in a little bit. Hopefully I say something cool. I'll throw a shout out to the chat. If I can think of a way to slip it in there, I'll slip it in there for you guys. Give you a little bit of love. Tim Culver says this is a repeat of versus OU and Tulsa. It kind of seems that way, man, where they would just kind of get punched. It was like a haymaker right out of the gates, and it just kind of sucks all the wind out of the sails. And yeah, I mean, they battled, but you never really felt like they were all the way back in it. And it's tough, man. Like, if you got to put in so much effort just to call back to make it a competitive game, you kind of expel all your energy and you can't get over the hump. It's tough. Yeah, I see some Kentucky fans in here saying, hey, ball screen defense was his weakness last season. Yeah, I mean, I know I know it was, and it continues to be so far. So, man, let's see. Yeah, I know. Big Z played more minutes than TB did. I watched the game. I'm here actually. I would like to see TB play a little bit more. I'm a little bit surprised they didn't play together more. That was something I kind of expected, because when Will Riley comes in for Illinois, like, he's a 6'9" wing, and like, there were times where Boogie Flan's guarding him. He's giving up 7-8 inches of height. Like, that's a tough sell. So I thought maybe Thero on him, and you could get Z and Trevin Brazil in there on the 4 and 5, because both their 4 and 5s are guys that those guys can guard. Like, if you're ever going to play multiple bigs, this is probably a game where you could have got away with it, but we didn't see too much of that, did we? Let's see. Tristan Cisco says Daniel Shee is my hero. Yeah, he rode with me up here. We're riding back. He's highly entertaining, that's for sure. Daytona Beach says, hey, Curtis, a Boogie Flan hits his 18-point average, we may have won. Yeah, I mean, been cool. Or if Johnell Davis would have taken a few shots, or if a dude Thero would have shot, decent from the free throw line, at 12 of 21, like, he gets to the free throw line 21 times. That is unheard of. It's unheard of. But you got to knock him down, though. Heartbroken Hog, says, what do you think of UConn losing 3 straight? Well, I think things are just weird in Maui, in the Bahamas, in those tournaments like that. Like, one loss can impact you so much for those next couple of games, because it's such a short turnaround. It's hard to kind of shake it off and have that next game mentality, next play mentality. And it can stack up on you, but it also goes to show you how random some results can be early in the year, and how little it really tells you about what a team's going to be by the end of the season. Everybody's trying to figure things out. Some are just further along than others, like Auburn, Alabama. Man, they look great right now. They look like they can meet each other in the national championships game, which pisses me off, and it should piss you off too. But like, everybody knows UConn's going to be fine, right? I mean, those guys are going to be okay. Houston's taking a couple of losses early. They're going to be all right. Arkansas will too, but they certainly have quite a bit of work to do. And I will say, a lot of credit to Illinois. They're good. I understand they're not ranked right now, but I think I said it in the pregame today. Boy, they just strike me as a team that's better than Baylor. I thought it was going to be Arkansas's toughest challenge yet, and it definitely was. Those guys are really good offensively. They've got NBA talent on that roster. Z's brother, NBA guy. The point guard, Kasparis, NBA guy. Will Riley, the wing, freshman coming off the bench, leading him in scoring, NBA guy. So Arkansas is very talented. Illinois is too, man, and they're further along in their scheme and their system, and they were better actually defensively than I probably gave them credit for coming into the game. So I definitely want to give credit to them, man. They were good, and they beat Arkansas. They were better in pretty much every facet of the game today. So that's where we're at. Okay, all right. Well, we got about a half hour. That's probably good. I tell you what, I really do, man. I appreciate everybody for coming in and listening, hopping in the chat, venting a little bit. And I really hope everybody's enjoyed their Thanksgiving. Shout out to everybody who came out here, for this game. It's a cool deal, but it's also giving up family time and everything like that. So whether you're going home from Kansas City or traveling to see family, or going back home, or going up to Columbia Saturday for the football game, everybody travel safe and enjoy the time with the family and everything. And really do appreciate you guys for tapping in with what we got going on at Inside Arkansas. And stay tuned, because even though it's still kind of a holiday weekend, we got plenty coming your way. I will do this report card. It's probably going to be harsh, and it'll be out in the morning. So be on the lookout for that. But thank you guys. Hope you all have a good one, and we'll see you soon. Appreciate it.